everyone. You're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. For the first time since Galwan, India and China, in fact, their troops briefly clashed at the line of actual control in Arunachal Pradesh on December 9. The army says the face-off led to minor injuries to a few personnel from both sides. The two sides immediately disengaged from the area. Sources have told PTI that at least 6 Indian soldiers were injured in the clash and brought to Guwahati for treatment. Sources have told ANI that Indian troops gave a befitting response to Chinese troops. Sources say the number of Chinese soldiers injured is more. The Chinese had come heavily prepared with around 300 soldiers, but did not expect the Indian side also to be well prepared. The opposition plans to raise the issue in Parliament tomorrow. The Congress wants the Prime Minister to make a statement in both houses of Parliament. Government sources say they are armed with facts and are ready for a discussion. A call will be taken whether the Defence Minister, that is Raksha Mantri, will make a statement in Parliament at all tomorrow or not. Akash is joining us live. He tracks Defence Ministry for us. We also have Abhishek Jha. He tracks External Affairs Ministry for us. Akash, the incident happened on 9th. What do we know about the provocation? What was the provocation?
Right. So, Maria, as you rightly mentioned, this incident happened on 9th of December. And, as far as this area is concerned, so, Maria, we have been given to understand that this is not an all-weather approach area. And that is the reason why both the sides look for dominance. And, Indian side and both the Chinese side were basically, involved in this clash. But we are learning that Chinese sides, had more numbers. And even then, they have suffered, injuries. And, as far as Indian side is concerned, so 6 of our Jawans are injured in this particular thing. And also we are learning that on the other side, we have more than 10 in number. Talking about this area, Maria, so this is the eastern sector of the actual line of control, and this is the second most sensitive, sector. Talking about Galwan, so we know that what happened in 2020 when 20 of our Jawans, laid down their lives. And, after that, we know the kind of approach that Indian Army and, in fact, the Defence Ministry has, taken. And also talking about the habitat, so we know that more than 25,000 habitat have been created in the eastern Ladakh area. But talking about now the Arunachal Pradesh, after 2 years, this sort of incident had happened. And, we have reported this particular incident. In fact, this is of 9th of December. After that, this is such a serious one. In fact, we are learning that after that, peace and sanity have been restored in that particular area, but again it is somewhere concerning because 6 of our Jawan have been injured in that area. Also we are learning that Chinese side was more prepared. Chinese side were more prepared, but they got befitting reply in this particular
and they
incident.
were perhaps taken by surprise given the kind of preparation that was there also on the Indian side. Abhishek, I'm looking at the statement that has been put out by the Indian Army. They are saying clearly that both sides immediately disengaged from the area. As a follow-up of the incident, own commander in the area held a flag meeting with his counterpart to discuss the issue in accordance with structured mechanisms to restore peace and tranquility. So, because this happened 3 days back, is there a possibility of some kind of communique between the Indian government and the Chinese government?
So, Maria, according to the 90s, two major agreement, 93 and 96, this line of actual control has been dealt with whenever there will be a conflicting situation, both sides will engage at a local commanders they will meeting, and if that is not sorted out, then it will be escalated to the higher authorities. So that is the established mechanism, and in fact, in the aftermath of Galwan, this mechanism has been strengthened further. So this incident that we are talking about of 9th of December, when it happened, both sides immediately disengaged, and the local commander level talk also happened, the flag meeting that we are calling it right now. And after that, there has not been any further clash in that area. Situation looks like peaceful, and the tranquility or the situation status quo that is there, that has been maintained. But the clash has happened, and it is also being reported that the Chinese side were trying to amass number of troops larger than required or larger than normally that is deployed in that area for the past several days. And probably this has hinted Indian side also to be prepared for any misadventure that Chinese might do. And since we are also reporting that about the Chinese soldiers numbering in hundreds tried to engrace and tried to push Indian sides, but then they got befitting reply because Indian side was probably also well prepared. So this is the current situation. Talking about the border situation, there are established mechanism, and we can assume that further high-level talks will also include the clash that has happened in Arunachal Pradesh. There has been almost 17 rounds of talks, border talks
That's right.
between India and China ever since the Galwan clash has happened. But the next round of talk, which is not yet slated, will of course be having this mention of this the latest clash that we are talking happening in Arunachal Pradesh Tawang area.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me, Abhishek and Akash there. Let me bring in my guests. Ashok Sajanhar, former diplomat, Major General G.G. Dwivedi is also joining us. Dr. Tara Kartha is live with us as well. General Dwivedi, I'm going to begin with you. Tell us about this terrain, Yangtse region of eastern Tawang. If we were to look at the army statement, they say clearly that this has been almost like a trend since 2006 because of differing perception wherein both sides patrol the area up to their claim lines.
Well, Maria, I think I would take a bifocal view because having served in China as defense attaché and commanded my troops right from Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh, so this needs to be taken in two spectrums. One is the strategic spectrum, and second is the tactical, how we look at the ground. So to give you a little strategic background, you see, as far as China is concerned, their constant effort is to change the status of the LAC, line of actual control. And especially after Xi Jinping has come in, since 2012, we had series of instances. 2013, we had Depsang, just on the eve of Li Keqiang visit. 2014, when Xi Jinping was in Ahmedabad, along with the Prime Minister, there was a clash going on in Chumar. Then we had 27 Doklam, and 2020, of course, 3 divisions, that is 4 divisions, 6 division, and border defense division. They all came to Eastern Ladakh. So you have to see the pattern. Pattern is that PLA has been constantly trying to change the state of the LAC, and this is as per the high direction because Xi Jinping is the commander-in-chief, he commands the PLA, and everything happens as per the guidelines of Central Military Commission. Now, coming to the tactical part, you see, our terrain in these areas is very difficult, very tough terrain, and it is at the high altitude, and at this time, there's a lot of snow, bad weather, and possibly, you see, whenever there is a turmoil inside China or there is instability or the internal situation is slightly, I would say topsy-turvy,
and that is the reason why
effect is always on the border.
Okay.
And right now, you see, after COVID-19, Xi Jinping getting third term, there was a lot of protest, and therefore they're trying to divert the attention on the borders. Now, this particular area is very sensitive. Tawang is very sensitive area, and it is strategically very, very important.
Yes, because
and therefore,
that point, Ambassador Sajanhar, that has been made by General Dwivedi becomes important to what he is saying, that because of the internal pressure, domestic concerns, this is diversionary tactic. But this is not for the first time the area in Arunachal Pradesh has seen a face-off between Indian and Chinese troops. Since the boundary is undefined, Indian and Chinese troops often face off while patrolling. In October 2021 also happened in a similar incident when some Chinese soldiers of a large patrol team were detained for a few hours by the Indian army. They engaged in a minor face-off and clashed near Yangtse. My question to you, Ambassador Sajanhar, would be that when you look at what is happening, this kind of pressure, that is pressure tactic being built by Xi Jinping and the PLA, is it also some kind of desperation because of the kind of infrastructure progress that India has made along the LAC?
Yeah, I think, Maria, thank you very much. We have been discussing all of this, if you remember, when April 2020 happened in east of Ladakh, as to what was the real reasons as to why China had to come and amass so many troops, so many forces on the line of actual control in Ladakh. And of course, there were 10 reasons given. Till now, we do not know what exactly, people even mention the statements by the Home Minister, development of our infrastructure, our improving relations with the United States, etc. But here, I think definitely, one message definitely, in my view, came out from the 20th party congress that China is going to take a much more muscular stand, much more aggressive stand as far as all its border issues areas are concerned. And of course, what has also been mentioned in terms of the domestic problems that the Communist Party is facing, the domestic problems that Mr. Xi Jinping himself is facing, as far as the protests against zero COVID, protests against, as far as the economy is concerned, it's not doing well. This has really been the contract that the Chinese Communist Party and leadership has had with its people, that we are going to provide you with good economic growth, good, living standards, and you don't interfere as far as the political matters are concerned. But, with the action that has been taken on the real estate, on high tech, on education, so many areas, the economy is also not doing well. So I feel that the Chinese leadership and the Communist Party is finding itself under pressure. And this might be some sort of a diversionary tactics. I think everywhere in the world, all, dictators and autocrats, when they are faced with such challenges, they always try to, perk up an external enemy.
We saw those protests
try to
because of the COVID protocol that were forced on people as well. Dr. Kata, sources are clearly saying that Indian army is in a dominant position in the Yangtse area, which has mountain ranges. And the Chinese side is largely under observation by Indian soldiers, and Chinese movement up the hills are largely noticeable from the Indian position. When you look at the scuffle of this nature and the timing, of course, because of the developments in China, how are you viewing India's response?
I think the fact that the ADGPI decided to announce, days after this, that such a clash had taken place, itself shows, I think, Delhi's decision to, we are going to deal with this as it comes. I mean, they're not going to, like earlier, as you know, Maria, clashes in this area have been pretty frequent, even prior to Galwan. But generally, it is never announced. I mean, it happens and you shrug it off. But this has been announced. It is a minor clash. It could also be a tactical one. It's just a tactical exercise because, I mean, in some ways, the whole post-Galwan, what are the Chinese troops seeing? The Chinese troops are seeing that there is a kind of a aggressiveness in Chinese behavior. The Galwan so-called hero, the commander opposite in Galwan, has been honored. He's been, he was sent to the Olympic Games. So that is the message that troops on the ground are getting. You know that this area also saw a clash in October last year and in other areas. So these clashes are taking place. I'm glad the Indian Army decided to announce it and say that we are taking notice of this. However minor, we are going to stand and we're going to note, we're not going to back off from this kind of thing. But it's something which you're right, it takes place because the LSE is not clear on this point. But nonetheless, it is worrisome that this kind of a thing did take place. It is definitely worrisome.
But Dr. Kata, you make a very interesting point that despite the clashes of this nature have happened in the past, but the fact that Indian Army goes ahead with it and talks about it 3 days later is an indication of how confident perhaps they want to really face it and call it out. Do you see this particularly important in terms of the diplomatic moves of India? Just few days back, Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping did a handshake.
Yeah, but there was no formal meeting. I don't think either side called for a meeting. So as the foreign minister says, relations are not normal. And we've said so very clearly that you cannot do this to us. But the thing is see, this kind of thing hopefully it will not escalate. It will not, but in this kind of situations, you can never tell what takes place next. Where they will keep on prodding you. And at some point, these are human beings on the ground. I mean, on the positive side, no minor injuries. On the positive side, in Galwan, not a shot was fired. So there is very strong discipline clearly by both sides. But in the end, they're human beings. Who knows what happens next?
Okay. Ambassador Sajanhar, we really do not know what happens next, or because of the strategic position that India is on in this particular region, do you think Chinese knew that Indians were perhaps more prepared? That they got a befitting response, and what happened was perhaps just a fist fight rather than something that happened in Galwan when the Chinese troops came with barbed wire, iron rod. So it was very different from that time. They had learned their lessons.
Yeah,
Yes,
in a
they
manner of
had. I mean, the
speaking, they had
fact that
learned
you
the
could.
lesson, Maria.
Yes.
But I think we also need to keep in mind that, there were 300 of them. 300 is not a small number. It's a pretty large number, and for all of them to come together. And I think this has been building over a period of time. It's not, suddenly that all of them appeared on the 9th. What my understanding is that it has been building up over, some previous days to that. And as you mentioned yourself, Maria, I think we have now sort of, taken up the development of our infrastructure in the border
Yes.
areas in a very, very serious way. Now, of course, it is recognized that the terrain on our side, whether it is in Ladakh or it is in Arunachal or elsewhere, is much more inhospitable than it is on the Chinese side. They have a relatively flat land, flat region. So for them to create villages, to create infrastructure, roads, etc., is much easier. I have been very, very recently, just a month ago, I was in Leh and some of the other areas in Ladakh, not in Arunachal. Arunachal, I haven't been there for the last 4-5 years. But on our side of the LAC, the terrain is very punishing, very torturous. So I think even in those circumstances, we have been able to come up with the good infrastructure. And as you mentioned, this could definitely be one of the reasons, but they have pushed back with these large numbers. I think we also need to keep in mind, Maria, that whenever such instances have occurred in the past, 2013, 2014, 17, there were some voices which said maybe these are decisions of the local commanders. I think that has been proven wrong. All these things, the commands, the orders really come from high up. How high up, I really wouldn't like to speculate in this case at this juncture, but they have not been the decisions of the local commanders. So we need, our side, I'm sure, is fully prepared, because it's not only the LAC, Maria, that we have to keep in mind as far as Arunachal is concerned. China demands the whole of, it lays claim to the whole of 93,000 square kilometers of Arunachal Pradesh, which it calls southern Tibet.
Okay.
So, I think going forward, they could be seen, we could
opening
really
newer fronts, perhaps.
foresee that they will become even more aggressive on the LAC.
General Dwivedi, I have just enough time for you. Majority of the transgressions in the last few years are in the western sector, while there is an increasing trend of transgression which is happening in the middle or the eastern sectors. And as far as the eastern Ladakh is, and India and China are positioned in close proximity at multiple locations along the undefined LAC for more than 2 years. While there have been several rounds of talks at diplomatic and military level, but the standoff is still continuing, and this has become several no patrolling zones, and other concerns are there as well. So when you look at something of this nature happening in this season, of course it's winter, and army also going ahead, because I think what Dr. Karta says becomes very, very crucial, that army goes ahead and announces it to the country of a standoff of this nature. 3 days later, sending a message that yes, it happened, but these were minor injuries, and we gave a befitting response.
Well, Mario, firstly, in current environment, it is the tactical actions which have strategic ramifications. Like after what did Doklam, but then it hits the world's screen, world arena. So today we are talking about tactical actions, but with strategic ramifications. So therefore, this action cannot be just wished away. It has to be taken in very seriously and in entirety. Second issue is that you talk about Ladakh. The Chinese are very sensitive to Ladakh for a number of reasons. First and foremost, their main highway from Kashgar to Lhasa passes through it, and it is very close to where the line of actual control is. So they are trying to push it as much as possible to 1959 line. Secondly, CPEC today, from Kashgar, the CPEC is going all the way to Gowada. So again, it is in POK. And that's why, again, they are very sensitive. And thirdly, the pass itself is very important, the DBO and Depsang area, because Karakoram Pass is just next, and that gives India some capability. So that's why Chinese are very, very sensitive to Ladakh, and they would like to push the line of actual control to 1959 line. They're almost there. Now, coming to the eastern sector, what Chinese have done, if you recall, last July, Xi Jinping was in Lhasa, and he talked to all the higher army commanders, and they want, Tibet to be a shield, and that's why they have they amended the National Defense Law, giving a lot of powers to the PLA, and also the border defense law, demarking the border. Third point is that we must understand the structure, PLA structure. PLA is directly under Xi Jinping under Central Military Commission, and then the Western Theatre is directly under the CMC. So therefore, anything that happens with the concurrence, with the green signal of Central Military Commission. And lastly, the border management. That is a challenge today, because Chinese are constantly trying to give a different coloring to these LAC, change the status quo.
Okay.
And
I
our
have 20
border
more seconds for
management
Dr.
is
Karta. Dr.
slightly-
Karta, how do you see the events unfold in the next 24 hours?
I don't see anything in the Chinese media. We've chosen to bring this out. I see, Maria, as all of us, you bring up infrastructure, you bring up troops, both sides are doing this right across the border. At least we're not bringing up troops, our guys are already there. Such incidents will increase. You can expect that in the coming months. The only thing is, what is the severity? Incidents we can expect as they brought villages close to the border, to the perceived border, so on and so forth. So we are trouble ahead. That's what I would expect.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Karta, Ashok Sajanhar and General Dwivedi. Shifting focus to debate 2, 3 years ago, in August 2019, the central government took the bold step of abrogating Article 370 and thus opening the doors for the integration of Jammu and Kashmir into the Union of India. The centre has introduced multiple schemes and initiatives for the development of Jammu and Kashmir for bridging the gap between Delhi and Srinagar. Now the Jammu and Kashmir administration is planning to create a database of all families in the Union Territory, with each of them having a unique alphanumeric code. The Family ID system aims to ensure ease in the dispersal of welfare funds. The objective is simple: to have an automated system to ensure last mile delivery. But the opposition in the valley is up in arms. Former Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti alleged that this was a surveillance system, adding that the centre was tightening its iron grip on the valley. Many others too have raised data safety and privacy concerns. So is there any fact or valid concern here, or is this simply fear mongering?
एक साजिश है। इनका एजेंडा कुछ और है। जिस एजेंडे पे ये चल रहे हैं, उस एजेंडे से ये इस जम्मू कश्मीर को भी हिस्सों में तकसीम कर रहे हैं।
हर बात में लोगों को गुमराह करना इनकी आदत बन चुकी है। किसी भी अच्छे काम के लिए सवाल उठाती है। मुझे लगता है कि ना तो अब लोग इसको सीरियसली लेते हैं, तो इस चीज़ का एक मजाक बनाया जा रहा है, जो कि सर्वदा गलत है।
So let's decode the arguments from both the sides. Argument that is in favor says that the system is an easy automatic registry of beneficiaries. Argument against, and this is the argument of the opposition in the valley, that it will lead to profiling of communities by authorities. Let's look at point 2. It will help determine the eligibility for social benefits. So the benefits of the state will reach one and all is what the government is hoping, the administration of Jammu and Kashmir is hoping for. The argument which is against it is saying that it is another surveillance tactic against Kashmiris. Families won't have to apply separately because it will be the family ID. Again, it will widen the trust deficit between the people of Jammu and Kashmir and the centre. This is the argument of Mehbooba Mufti, the National Conference and the Congress. Those in favour of this ID say it will serve as one platform for all schemes. It will tighten the centre's grip on people's lives is the argument by those who are opposing it. All laws of data protection will be applied is what the administration is saying in the press release that has been put out, that they will ensure protection and also privacy. Those who are against it are saying that protection against cyber attacks has been inefficient. So how is this debate going to go forward perhaps? Tom Varakan, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us live. SP Vaid, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir. Sajjad Karigili is a political activist and analyst. We have Amit Raina, spokesperson of Roots in Jammu and Kashmir, will be joined by Ashwini Bhatt as well. SP Vaid, I'm going to begin with you. What's really the need for a database of this nature, and what will you tell PDP and other political parties who see this as some kind of surveillance tactic?
Maria, see, this move is basically, as you were mentioning, and government handout also said, is basically to ensure that welfare schemes reach to the last man on the street, the genuine beneficiaries who deserve these benefits. And not only in J&K, across the country, the welfare schemes of the Prime Minister, union government led by Prime Minister has, irrespective of community, irrespective of religion, irrespective of, has actually gone to their accounts. The money has directly gone to their accounts. Why should, in today's time of digitalization, why should common man, a citizen of this country, whether Jammu and Kashmir or other parts of the country, be left at the mercy of a patwari, at the mercy of a social welfare department employees, at the mercy of public distribution department employees for small things in their life, the benefits they draw from the government schemes. So digitalization is today's age is digitalization. What is wrong in it?
What is wrong in it? Sajjad Karigili, what is wrong in it? If the state is trying to ensure that the benefits reach those who deserve it, who need it, then what is wrong in it? Why should it be seen as surveillance or some kind of suspicion? Why should it be viewed with suspicion?
We have already Aadhaar facility due to which we get all kind of, benefits of government schemes through Aadhaar. We have we have online data of Aadhaar. But this extra, unique identifications of the families is a kind of a snooping tool. Basically, government is not serious about the schemes which they are providing. If they are really serious about the welfare of the people, they should provide the existing schemes, on priority to the people.
Okay.
But unfortunately,
okay, Tom Varakan, if there is Aadhaar already, then why have an extra ID? Respond to the point being made by him.
Maria, Aadhaar may have not done the purpose that it serves, and there is already complaints from the lowest in rung that the facility that is offered is not reaching them. So there is an attempt to update, to get because of the Union Territory's serious concerns, that you get a detailed report on where the development should reach, who are the people, the beneficiaries. To say that Aadhaar is there, but how many of them have Aadhaar? These are things, this is now a house-to-house campaign where the governor rightly said that they would reach out. And this is very effective in Haryana. They've also done this. This is basically a drive to reach out to the last man down. And if that is a problem for the the ruling so-called dynasts there. I would also like to know what Ghulam Nabi Azad had said. Who are those guys, who are those leaders who have links with the terrorists? Are they the ones who are creating terror, creating fear psychosis in our brethren in Kashmir? Is it their desire that any good move by the government
is it
not
is it just opposition for opposition's sake then, Amit Raina?
Mahbooba is a born conspiracist, and this insecurity in her comes from the desire her family has for decades of converting Kashmir into a Sharia state. And there were three tools for that. One was misgovernance, one was miscommunication, and was one militancy. Now, anything which improves governance in Kashmir, anything which brings benefit to the people will get opposed by her. This is not the first time she's opposing. She opposed Aadhaar. She opposed electoral reforms. She opposed Jammu and Kashmir High Court order which gave privileges or to women after on certain rulings on Article 35(8), the Domicile Act. She even went and opposed the recent benefits of reservation given to certain sections of community. So Mahbooba Mufti will always oppose anything that gives better governance to the people, that gives benefit to the people in Jammu and Kashmir, because it goes and exposes the misgovernance the Abdullahs and Muftis have been doing for decades. It will reduce the number of people who she can use to fight to wage a war against India.
Okay.
So anything which is for the benefit of this.
Sajjad, look at it from the point of view that if you have the right database for the beneficiaries, it will benefit them. Unko fayda hoga, because if we just go with let's just go with what the administration is saying. Administration said that the objective behind the plan was the easy selection of eligible beneficiaries of various social welfare schemes, and according to the vision document, each family will be provided with a family ID, and the data available in the family database would be used to determine eligibility through automatic selection of beneficiaries for social benefits. Unke fayde ke liye hai.
Look, we have already, nobody is against the reform. What Amit Raina Sahib has said that, he is trying to connect Abdullahs and Muftis with the terrorists, which is not right. And I think both Abdullah and Mufti families and their, cadres, their party workers, they have also sacrificed a lot for Kashmir. Their workers have been killed by the terrorists. But now, unfortunately, these people are not understanding what they are saying. They don't know. Nobody is against the reform.
Who doesn't know? Who is not understanding?
The thing is, this cyber, people like Amit Raina Sahab, he is not understanding. He is trying to connect all the time, his obsession against the Muftis and, Abdullahs. Whatever he's saying, all is his own political problem with these families.
But give me a reason why it is being opposed.
It has been opposed because we have already Aadhaar. We have already Aadhaar.
Amit, please try and explain to him the difference between the two.
It also breaches the privacy of the
I haven't understood
of a family. There is a cyber privacy. There will be no protection. We have seen
I haven't understood the concern Mahbooba has been raising. The concern Mahbooba has raised. Why did not the same concern happen in the state of Haryana? Why does every concern get raised in state of Jammu and Kashmir, and that too by certain political parties and political leaders?
Why the government is not? Why the government is not?
Are we saying people
why the
of
government
Haryana
is not implementing same? Why the government is not implementing same program in UP? Why the government is not implementing same program in UP? Why not the government is providing the same unique
identity? It is a union territory of Jammu and Kashmir administration's call. How will they implement it in UP? What kind of logic are you talking? It's
you are giving example of Haryana, but the BJP's ideal state is UP. First, implement these schemes in UP.
What does BJP
do with LG administration? Are also deprived of
BJP to do with LG administration?
Two schemes
they are also deprived of. He has no political affiliations. What does Chief Secretary do?
Why every scheme you are trying to introduce in Jammu and Kashmir?
Because any political party
because everyone knows that these all attempts just to change the demography of Jammu and Kashmir. This is the basic reason.
You want to scuttle every move that benefits the people of Jammu and Kashmir, because every move that brings normalcy back to the state.
If you are very much, very much concerned about the welfare of the people, then implement this scheme in UP.
By keeping them poor, by keeping them backward.
Why not the government is implementing this scheme in UP and all BJP ruled states?
Of center scheme to the Jammu and Kashmir, the progress India saw on software, in spite of having one of the highest
implement these schemes in a popular states where you have elected government of BJP.
Contribution to software.
Why you are implementing such schemes in a fragile union territory where there is no accountability, where no elections are going on?
Amit Rana, a quick response and then I bring in Ashwini Bhatt. Amit Rana.
Pardon?
A quick response to Sajjad and then I bring in Ashwini Bhatt.
Anything, as I said, anything, they will see conspiracy in everything. If there was something wrong with the scheme, we would have already seen it in Haryana. It is a 2018 scheme implemented in Haryana, and it has done fairly well in Haryana. So they will find anything in every scheme which government of India and Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir administration brings in, because anything, as I said, the politicians of Jammu and Kashmir, anything which brings better governance, better benefit to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, is a dent on their electoral vote bank. It exposes them, and it shows to the people that how for decades they have been
missold. The intention of the Union Territory administration.
Okay.
No concrete
let Ashwini Bhatt respond now. Ashwini Bhatt, you heard multiple sides on this entire debate. Where do you stand?
Yeah, Maria. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for having me. Look, Mehbooba Mufti, she seems to be suffering from CRS syndrome, and the full form of CRS is compulsive retaliation syndrome, right? On a lighter note, I hope that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi tomorrow does not announce that people should not be jumping off their rooftops, because I really I really think that Mehbooba Mufti would be the first person to actually take the big leaf and jump off her rooftop. This is so puerile and this is so juvenile of her to retaliate and to sort of respond to something which is a welfare scheme. And just because she has been losing her vote bank and her base, her vote bank base, she literally latches on every single opportunity to be on the news and to be in the news.
Ashwini, she is saying that it is only showing
that
there is a great degree of suspicion with which Kashmiris are being viewed, and that is the reason why there is this another family ID. What is the need for a family ID?
No, I mean, look, Maria, this is nothing but an extension of the Aadhaar or the National Register of Citizens, and similarly on the same lines, this is like the family register of citizens, and nothing wrong in that, right? I'm more than happy, and if you would have listened to the LG, Mr. Sinha, he's like, this is voluntarily. I mean, you can choose not to register for this, but if the members of the family already have an Aadhaar and then you have an identification of your family, this is just to kind of fast track and facilitate the social schemes or the welfare schemes. Why should and why would Mehbooba Mufti have a problem with that? And that's what I'm saying. She's suffering from compulsive retaliation syndrome, and I hope Narendra Modi does not announce tomorrow
Sajjad,
that all citizens should take care of their eyes.
If it is voluntary, then why make such a fuss about it?
Her eyes just because she has to retaliate what what Prime Minister has announced. So this is juvenile.
Illogical. If they are very serious about the welfare of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, they should implement these schemes in the BJP ruled states where they have popular governments. In a state where there is no accountability on every scheme, on corruption, or we have seen several cases like this. in that state they are trying to implement these kind of unique family identification. It's a kind of
I'll tell you
NRC.
where
They
it
are
is
bringing
pinching.
NRC in
I'll tell
Kashmir.
you, sir, why it's pinching. Is Mehbooba Mufti trying to safeguard the Rohingyas who have been surreptitiously been sheltered in Jammu? And Maria, just so that you know, there have been thousands of Rohingya families who have been settled around the periphery of Jammu, very close to army installations. There was a bomb blast 2 days back, and the connections are tied to the Rohingya families. Why would I am more than happy to?
Now
I
he
have
is
an
trying
Aadhaar.
to
All my family
divert
members
the
have an Aadhaar.
attention
I'm
and
more than
shift
happy
the
to kind of sign
attention
up to
from
this
Kashmir
family
to
register.
Rohingyas.
Why should
Look,
I or anybody
this is
who
the
does not
sheer
have any
hypocrisy.
who
They
does
are
not have
changing the topics.
any ill
They are changing
intentions,
the entire discourse and they are trying
register
to make a false
for this
narrative.
scheme? I see no reasons. Mehbooba Mufti is trying to latch onto any last straw left because she has lost the political capital in
She has lost
JNK.
lot. Government is fearing government is feeling fear from her political activities. That's why
Do you
government is
have
trying
anything to
to
hide? Do you
guard
have
her
anything
from
to
every
hide? Tell me
political
one thing.
activities.
Tell me one thing, Sajjad. What do you
Government
have?
is
Do you have an
trying to
Aadhaar? Can I
suppress
ask
all
a
the
question?
political
Maria,
dissenting
can
voices
I
in
ask
Jammu and
Sajjad a
Kashmir.
question? Sajjad, do you have an Aadhaar?
Yes, I have Aadhaar.
Sajjad, do
What's
you
the
have an
problem?
Aadhaar?
Yes.
Sajjad, do you have an Aadhaar?
Yes, I have an Aadhaar.
Okay.
Yes, I have an Aadhaar.
If you do, what inhibitions apart from beating around the bush and just puking garbage and garble? What issues do you have about for registering towards this scheme?
If my entire information is online already, what is the need to add more more identifications to make the information online?
If you care,
this is the breach. It will create more breach.
No, it won't. It just. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Right? When you have a family identification number, that speeds or that facilitates and then catalyzes the government schemes of family welfare.
Amit Rana wants to come in. Amit Rana, quickly, and then I bring in SP.
Don't read anything more than that into this.
Okay, Amit Rana, come in on this.
Yes, one is that there is already something known as PDS. The ration card already have a unique ID.
Yes.
So from him saying that it is something which will breach, you are only digitizing. You are only digitizing what is already existing. Secondly, he has questions. He doesn't have a concern. He has not raised a single concern. He has questions. Why? He doesn't tell you what is wrong with it. He asks you question, very valid question. You should ask this question why, and they have told you that it is digitization of the unique IDs which already exist. I don't know what is the reason. Why are they so afraid of digitization? They opposed the digitization of revenue records recently because they knew they will be exposed when revenue records will be digitized because the encroachments they have been doing on properties, especially of the displaced people, the displaced community, they will get exposed. So they oppose anything which exposes their corruption, exposes their
SP Ved, since you have served in Jammu and Kashmir, the point being made by Ashwini Bhatt of Rohingyas, they live on the Indian territory, of course, and then they enjoy the benefits of the states as well. Do you think an idea of this nature will ensure that it is the Indians who benefit from the schemes of India?
Absolutely, Maria. That is that this scheme will ensure that those who are not citizens will definitely be out of it, and that is what a progressive nation should do. And one reform that Jammu and Kashmir needs is which fights corruption. And I think digitization is very good tool to fight corruption at the lower rungs. The harassment by officers at the different departments at the lower level to common citizen. One person has to go and visit number of times Tehsildar's office, Deputy Commissioner's office, Tehsil Supplies officers. just to get them included in different schemes.
But
What is wrong?
If there is an Aadhaar, if there are other identifications that Indians already have, then what is the need for an extra one? How will this extra one help?
Maria, let's say we are 5 people in the family. We have Aadhaar. But if all five of us having Aadhaar and have a unique ID that this is a family unit and this family has this much income, so they are entitled for these A, B, C or D schemes. What is wrong? How does it harm anybody? It rather, as a family, as a unit, I get a unique ID and I know my entitlement and fight all this bureaucratic
hurdles. Those who are opposing it say, Dr. Vaid, that this is, if anything, tactic to tighten the iron grip on their lives. This is what the former Chief Minister said in a tweet.
I don't think. I beg to differ with her. By creating digitalizing the data, I don't think there is any tightening of grip. If that could be done, that could have been done even by Aadhaar data. I don't think having a unique family ID will have any surveillance or any bad motive.
Sajjad, the point being made by SP Vaid is valid. If it is about surveillance, then even your Aadhaar would be subject to surveillance.
I beg to differ with Mr. SP Vaid Sahab. Look, we have recently seen this cyber attack on AIMS. There are, there are concerns.
No, but this is about individuals. That's an institution. Let's not mix the two.
But if we have already, if this unique family identification is that much popular, then the government can implement this scheme in the BJP
Tom Vadakan has been extremely patient. I have 30 seconds for you, Tom Vadakan. Will there be a rethink?
There is no question of a rethink on an institution that is being built for development. The naysayers can take a walk, and this fear psychosis that they create for the development of our brethren in Jammu and Kashmir is a sad tale. If the Chief Minister, former Chief Minister, has lost her base, then she's trying to hold on to some people who have infiltrated. It's an unfortunate story, and the story is not over. Government of India has taken cognizance that Kashmir needs development, and there's no question of any compromise on this.
All right, Tom Vadakan, I appreciate your time. SP Vaid, Sajjad Karigili, Amit Raina and Ashwini Bhatt. Slipping to a short break. Up next, the Congress is on the back foot once again after another leader threatens the Prime Minister, says people must be ready to kill him to save the Constitution. That report after a quick break.
On the basis of caste, creed, language, all these things. These were the vile allegations by the former minister of Madhya Pradesh. Raja Pataria was the minister in the Vijay cabinet. In fact, he is also saying that, referring to, very objectionable language was used by Raja Pataria, and that is why BJP has reacted very sharply. And we are right now with Madhya Pradesh Home Minister. He is also reacting on this matter. And in fact, BJP government in Madhya Pradesh, they can go even to the extent of filing an FIR against Raja Pataria for his objectionable comment.
Absolutely. Now, Manoj, this is not the first time that the Congress member has really made statements against the Prime Minister when it comes to something of this shocking nature. Can you take us through what's happened in the past with the Congress and their statements as well?
Yeah, in fact, if you look at, you must remember that statement by Mani Shankar. In fact, now BJP leaders here in Madhya Pradesh, they are saying that all the time these party members of opposition, in fact, particularly from the Congress, they keep on targeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That's okay. They can target Prime Minister on the issues. In fact, there must be some issues on which they should target Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But how can they use such a foul language against anyone, particularly against the Prime Minister. He's a Prime Minister of the country. He's not Prime Minister of the BJP or the Congress or the Aam Aadmi Party. He's Prime Minister of this country, and how can they use such a foul language against Prime Minister? And that is why Madhya Pradesh government and can even go to the extent, as I was referring to you, that they will file some case against Raja Pateria on this matter.
Absolutely. Now, this, as you mentioned, is a big shocker because you cannot openly threaten the Prime Minister of our country like this. Can you tell us more about how the BJP has responded to this? Because you were saying that the Home Minister has, the MP Home Minister has.
Yeah, in fact, BJP leaders are saying that this language, what he is saying, that he was saying that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to put an end to election. Then he said Prime Minister Narendra Modi is dividing the nation on the basis of religion, caste and language. And then he is saying that there is a threat because of the Prime Minister to tribals and minorities. And then he keep on saying, objective language which we cannot even use against the Prime Minister. And that is why BJP is reacting very sharply on this matter. And in fact, we are just waiting what the Madhya Pradesh government is going to do, and we are waiting from Home Minister at his residence and waiting for his response.
Yeah, of course. Now, Manoj, one thing this does put the spotlight on is the Congress, because essentially this is not the first Mantri that has said something like this. And what we really need to... All right, change of plans. I want to cross over to Manak Agarwal from the Congress, who's joining us on the line right now. Mr. Agarwal, thank you for speaking to CNN News 18. We want to discuss the statement that's been made by a member of the party of yours, where he's basically calling for the killing of the Prime Minister. How do you justify this?
देखिए, पटेरिया जी का ये उद्देश्य नहीं था. पटेरिया जी के मुंह से निकल गया, उन्होंने इसके लिए माफी भी मांग ली.
Is this a localized sort of clash that happened? Perhaps some of the area commanders there being hyper on the Chinese side, trying to get area domination and height domination? Or is there a larger pattern at play? Remember, the standoff in eastern Ladakh has not been fully resolved, so is China trying to send out a signal by what it did in Tawang? Major General retired V.K. Datta is former ADG Territorial Army, will be joined by Lieutenant General retired Shankar Prasad, former DG of Infantry. Lieutenant Colonel retired Anil Dahoon is a defense analyst and will be joined by Aina Tangent, political commentator from Beijing. Major General Datta, let me start with you first. We have seen clashes in Tawang in the eastern sector in the past as well. They range from minor clashes, including the one that we saw in October of 2021, to, of course, really major incidents like what we saw in Samudrongchu in 1986. The point being that how do we see this latest incident? Is it a localized clash that was quickly contained by both sides?
मोदी धर्म जाति भाषा के आधार पर बांट देगा. मोदी की हत्या करने के लिए तत्पर हो.
Raja Pateria, a senior Congress leader from Madhya Pradesh, has triggered a massive controversy. In a viral video, Pateria is seen asking people to kill Prime Minister Modi to protect the constitution.
कि मोदी इलेक्शन खत्म कर देगा. मोदी धर्म जाति भाषा के आधार पर बांट देगा. संविधान यदि बचाना है तो मोदी की हत्या करने के लिए तत्पर रहो. हत्या इन द सेंस कराने का काम. कल मंडलम सेक्टर के
After facing huge backlash, Pateria defended himself, saying that his remarks were misrepresented.
मैं गांधी को मानने वाला आदमी हूं. गांधी की मानने वाला आदमी हत्या की बात नहीं कर सकता. वो वीडियो गलत तरीके से पेश किया गया है.
But Pateria's clarification hardly helped. Hours after the video surfaced, Madhya Pradesh Home Minister Narottam Mishra ordered an FIR to be filed against the Congress leader.
कुछ ऐसे कथन उसमें दिए गए हैं जो कि निश्चित रूप से डेरोगेटरी रिमार्क की श्रेणी में आते हैं और धमकी की श्रेणी में आते हैं. तो FIR में सभी सेक्शंस का समावेश किया गया है.
विकास को नए स्तर पर परिभाषित.
The BJP came down heavily on the Congress party.
प्रश्न ये उठता है कि गांधी खानदान ने क्या मोदी का मर्डर सैंक्शन किया?
Congress MP Rahul Gandhi is currently in the middle of his Bharat Jodo Yatra and talking of peace. But his own party leaders are openly inciting violence against the Prime Minister. So will Congress walk the talk and take action against its errant leader Raja Pateria?
Silver lining in this Tawang incident is that all the injuries so far seem to be minor. It seems like it was hand-to-hand combat and no weapons of any lethal nature were used. But having said that, it also highlights the propensity of any clash flaring up, whether it is a localized clash or if there is a larger design. How would you read what happened in Tawang 3 days ago?
See, the thing is that what happened in Tawang was again a failure by the Chinese, trying to see how well are we poised in that sector. They sent in a feeler, we countered it. And therefore, we know that we are fully prepared for it. But you are absolutely right. Any situation, a flare-up, a push and a shove, while we all carry weapons, the weapons are carried with their barrels down and the strong arm behind the back. But in any critical situation, any one individual, any one soldier getting excited on his own can lead to a situation where there may be a face-off and it can lead to an escalation. Therefore, the Chinese must realize that while we have a convention of no firearms to be used, but we should not also wish away a mishap. Mishap can happen.
Okay, let me ask General Shankar Prasad. You know, one of the problems in the Eastern Ladakh situation was there were agreements. There were agreements that China had signed upon, 1993 agreement, the 2006 agreement. But both of those agreements were overlooked by the Chinese, and that's how incidents like Galwan happened. By doing what it has done in Tawang, is China also trying to weaponize that entire eastern front now in a way that today we have 50,000 troops on either side of the LAC in Eastern Ladakh? Are we looking at a situation where we'll have to have that kind of number of troops in Tawang as well on what could be a hot situation across the LAC there?
Zaka, the problem is very simple and straightforward, which Indian government and the Indian military fully understands. First of all, the problem is starting by the saying that the borders are delineated, are not properly delineated. There's an issue about perception of the borderline. We have a certain perception. They call themselves a different perception. Why is this perception not meeting? The simple reason is because they work on their maps, which the scales are different. We work on our maps, which the scales are different. Therefore, we have tried our best over the last 20-25 years to come to a common scale of maps. But China doesn't want to resolve this issue of the border delineation. China wants to continue. What I would like to say today to everyone listening to this show, that only single point agenda with China today is to delineate the border and decide once and for all. Otherwise, all these agreements of 93, 92, and 96 are going to be irrelevant. The simple fact is that China is not interested in resolving this border issue. They want to keep it stronger and more alive. They think that some point in time, the Indian army can be overcome, the Indian political establishment can be overcome, and they will get their way through. But they're failing to understand. It is not 1962 any longer. They've seen what happened at Doklam. They've seen what is happening in Galwan, what is happening in Eastern Ladakh, what happened at various places like Kailash Range, like the Pengong Tso Lake, like the DPN. So they think that they can continue to do salami slicing and keep sitting in areas like they've done in the DBO and the Depsang Plains. They think that if we come and occupy a certain area and we claim that to be ours, which is actually not going to ever happen again. So Indian army can do, you see, we must understand that Chinese army is a much, much larger army than us. Indeed it is. But at the point of contact, at the point of military contact, at the tactical strategic military contact, we are able to muster the equal military power as they can. If they can bring X number of artillery guns, so can we. If they bring X number of infantry, so can we. So this wrong perception to the
Hello and welcome to the late night edition with me, Ayushman Singh Jamwal. Our top story is the shocking news that has come in from Arunachal Pradesh. Now, for the first time since Galwan, Indian and Chinese troops